Welcome to Green Connections, where we help you live green, work green, and earn green. I'm Joan Michelson. Like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and check out our website at greenconnectionsradio.com. Now for part 2 of my conversation with Ann Randazzo, Executive Director of the Center for Energy Workforce Development here in Washington, D.C. In part 1, Ann told us where the jobs are in the utility sector and the 8 factors that are changing the industry and creating opportunities for jobs in this field, no matter what your background. She also gave us tips on what kinds of skills are needed and where to get them, and gave us some incredible statistics on how much the tuition and training is paid for. You can listen to it on our website at greenconnectionsradio.com, where we also have links to some of the tools that Ann and I discussed. Now for part 2. Listen up as Ann Randazzo tells us the top 3 tips for landing jobs in the utility sector, and lots more. What's it been like being a woman in this industry, especially over the time period that you have spanned? Because I would imagine it's changed, first of all.
It has changed. When I started, I was actually the first professional woman hired by Georgia Power. And now we just heard an announcement of Kim Green, who is with Southern Company, and she just became one of the top leaders in that company. So something that we could only dream of when I first started. So there's been lots of changes. You mentioned Duke Energy. They have a new head that's a woman. So there are lots of opportunities. And I think particularly now for women in engineering and in other jobs, the companies are looking for them. We can't say we don't want women, cut out half of the population.
We can't afford it. We need the workforce.
We are really looking at the total population, including veterans. Veterans are a key part of what we're focusing on because they make up the future workforce, and veterans in particular have the skills that we need. And they
talk
have
about that a little bit, because I saw that on your website, the Troops in Energy program or whatever, Troops to Energy. What are the skills specifically that would translate for a vet?
It's almost a direct match. When you think about the ability to learn and you think about the education that veterans get when they are in the service, they have that ability to go out and where others don't particularly want to go and do things to serve. That ability to serve is huge. The technical skills that they have fit right in. There are jobs in the military that are almost the exact match of jobs that are in utilities. But what we've been able to do is to begin to look at how do they match, because we've seen, it's a language barrier. When you look at the skills and the job titles of people in the military, it's totally different than what we call something. And if you go out to Troops to Energy Jobs, which is our veteran-focused website, a veteran can actually put in their military occupation code, and what'll come up is a job title that you might see in a job posting.
Oh, that's great. That's perfect.
So it's not based on an SOC code or some government translation. It's based on what we call it.
Bridging the gap directly.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We have a job site that every night we scrape all the jobs that are posted in our member companies, and so they can go out and see it. Oh, this says that it would translate to be a relay technician. Wow, here's a job in this area, a relay technician.
And I saw on your map that you relate it to literally geographic locations.
Absolutely.
So what would be the 3 tips that you would give to somebody looking for a job in energy, who sees this energy revolution and wants to get on the train, pardon the pun? What do you suggest they do?
The first thing is really to educate yourself on the industry and on the companies. You don't want to just walk in blind. So understand, if you're talking about Virginia, for example, which is where I live, do some research on Dominion, on Washington Gas. Find out what they require, because it's different from company to company. Some of them use a particular type of pre-employment test and another one might not. Find out what their generation mix is, where their assets are, the kinds of jobs that they have. So when you walk in, you're knowledgeable and you know what to do. Talk to people who are in the industry. You sometimes don't think about that customer service angle on it, and that what is considered an obligation to serve. You can't pick and choose customers. You serve everybody because everybody has a need for electricity and for natural gas. It's really the basis of our economy. So talk to people that are in the industry. And then the third thing is to prepare yourself. Go out there, read some of those job postings, find out what's required, go to the community colleges, find out what credentials are really relevant in hiring. Since we started talking about industry-recognized credentials, there are hundreds of thousands, literally, that have been created, but very few of them have anything to do with helping you get a job. So find out what's required for the kind of job that you're interested in and go get that. So when you walk in, you're prepared, you understand the culture, and you understand the company.
So know what you need to have going in. And finally, what should I be asking?
I think part of it is, maybe one of the things you should ask me is how parents factor into all of this. There's sometimes a connotation with these jobs. Everybody wants their kids to go to college, get a 4-year degree. But, the world has changed. And what we're seeing is that students coming out with bachelor's degrees are going back to community college to gain a skill so that they can actually get a job. Students who are coming out of community college programs, certificate programs, year-long certificate programs or associate degrees, come out and can make considerably more than someone with a bachelor's degree.
And maybe get some of your tuition paid for
exactly.
at the same time.
Exactly. But I think there's an education effort here for parents as well to understand how community colleges can educate students and how that fits into kind of this lifelong learning that we talked about, this lifelong education.
One of the things that I talk about a lot is the cultural messages we send about specifically women in this industry, but also in general in this industry, where they're not always the most flattering. They're sort of the images and the messaging does not tell you that you could make $60,000 a year to start and get this incredible education that you can translate into biotech. I mean, I've never heard that before. And, that's something that could almost be on NCIS, for example. And our media does not address these messages accurately from what you're describing. Well, thank you so much, Ann. You're just a wealth of information, and all of this, I should tell you, was done without a bit of notes, which is kind of staggering. The woman is a master of her territory. Thank you so much, Ann Randazzo, Executive Director of the Center for Energy Workforce Development. We'll have a link to it on our website and to some of the tools that she talked to as well. Wow, isn't she remarkable? So here's what I heard in part 2. One is that veterans definitely should apply, and I love their tool to help match the jobs that veterans do in the military and the actual codes they have with the names of the jobs in the utility sector. I just think makes it so easy and creates a language translation. It's really great. The 3 tips that she gave us for landing jobs in the utility sector, really good stuff. Educate yourself on the industry. Look at who the players are, what they do, what kinds of jobs there are. 2, talk to people in the industry. This is true about any industry. Go and talk to people who are in it. Just say, I'd like a few minutes of your time. Call it an informational interview if you like. Ask them what their jobs are like. Engage them in conversation about what they do every day and what it's like working there, what they like about it, and what the challenges might be. And 3, get the credentials you need for the jobs that interest you. And she made a very good point. She said, in effect, all certifications are not created equal, that there are zillions of certifications out there, but there are only a few that really matter, and you need to find out which ones really matter for the jobs you're interested in. The other key point that Ann made is the important role that parents play, especially in this world where the media sends inaccurate pictures of these roles. They don't talk about how much money they make. They don't talk about the transferability of skills. So, parents need to step up and understand the industry and look at what the opportunities are for their kids and give their kids options and help young adults who are choosing to go to college or coming out of college and looking at the job market. Help your kids understand the utility sector. So, do you work for a utility or an energy company? Tell us the work that you do and how you got your job and your training. Post it on our Facebook page or send it to me on Twitter at Joan Michelson or email it to us at info@greenconnectionsradio.com. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Joan Michelson with Green Connections, where we help you live green, work green, and earn green. See you next time.
Capital Audio Post, your one-stop shop for your post-production needs. 703-712-8757.
Our services include video editing, sound design, sound mixing, ISDN recording, and many other media-related services.
Let us finish your project no matter where you are, across the U.S. or across the world. Go to www.capitalaudiopost.com. Call us at 703-712-8757.
Let us know how we can help you finish your production.